Hi, welcome to the 13th Annual John Klaschinski Luncheon. While I wish we were gathering in person, I hope you're all safe at home, enjoying a toast to CMCB. Throughout this event, you'll hear from our class of 2020, you'll learn more about our response to COVID, get a tour of our space today, and I hope that by the end, you will feel the hope for our future. If you feel inspired by the work we do, I invite you to make a donation to CMCB today. We're working hard to make our program safe and accessible, both online and in person, and we need your support. Before I go on, I want to thank our sponsor, Berkshire Bank, and the members of CMCB's giving societies. Your support makes our work possible. The Community Music Center of Boston was established in 1910 in the Settlement House tradition, founded to promote unity and equity and access to music education across Greater Boston. Today, more than a century later, that original mission continues to flourish through the availability of music learning and enrichment to all citizens of Greater Boston. The Community Music Center is far more than a music school. It is a creative hub where people of all backgrounds share music as common ground and where diversity, expression, and self-transformation are the very air we breathe. At CMCB, we're proud to be a leader in national conversations on equity and creative youth development, and we're honored to support one of the most diverse school districts in the nation. But perhaps our greatest strength is that when a student enters a CMCB program, they're entering an entire ecosystem of programs that can support them throughout their K-12 education and beyond. With programs throughout Boston, in school, after school, in the summer, and in partnership with over 30 community agencies, CMCB is truly unique. Before the virus hit, CMCB was really hitting our stride in our 110th anniversary year. We raised over $100,000 at the luncheon at City Winery, breaking our previous record for this event. We had a fun and successful performathon, one of my actual favorite events of the year. We chose our first ever Ensemble Student Committee, a student-led group which has been a platform for students to affect decision-making here at CMCB. We launched Community Conversations, a staff-led speaker series to create dialogue about important issues in arts education. Over 200 folks gathered at the Young Composers Festival, which featured original compositions from our students. And CMCB welcomed its first group of BEAM students, a program which helps to create inclusive pathways for students from underrepresented backgrounds to seek careers in music. Then came COVID-19. When the state shut down in March, we made the difficult but necessary decision to suspend regular operations at our 34 Warren Avenue site to support health, safety, and slow the spread of COVID-19. Our board voted almost immediately to permit a special draw from our endowment for the work to continue. CMCB is proud to say we did not furlough or let go any of our employees, including all staff, faculty, teaching artists, and music therapists because of COVID-19. Within 24 hours of closing our physical location, we had online programming up and running, including really thoughtful best practice guidelines for our teachers. 60 students opted in that first day, and we were happy to have that. And then one weekend, that number grew to over 250, nearly half of our community music school population. And that number continued to rise as our community settled into this new normal. This spring, despite closures, virtually all of our external partners, including BPS, graciously honored their contracts in exchange for online instruction or some type of content. We spent the latter half of the year re-envisioning our programming, and this led to some remarkably innovative ideas. At Fiddlefest, instead of traditional concerts in Allen Hall, our string students and our faculty put together beautiful videos of student performances from home. Following the success of Fiddlefest, our annual Lappin competition and Fête de la Musique also went online. In July, even our summer arts and summer music programming went online. We owe a big thank you to all of our community partners, and thank you to our staff and faculty who have made our online programming possible. In August, we had a HVAC consultant come into CMCB to help us to improve the air quality and the airflow in the space. In addition to that, we also have upgraded Wi-Fi as well. As we moved into this digital world, it was important to us to make sure that our faculty had access to the equipment that they needed to effectively engage in this kind of hybrid online and in-person programming here at our space. We have new cleaning supplies, sanitizing wipes, of course, hand sanitizer, gloves. We even put up hand sanitizing stations throughout the building, because it was important that our families, our staff, and our faculty were safe. The Reentry Working Group was a group of staff, faculty, board members, and corporation members who all came together to help us think through how we would reopen our doors in the fall. This included them having a health and safety plan and pledge. They guided us as we were thinking through this hybrid online and the in-person programming. They also looked at our space to make sure that we had the appropriate maximum participants in a group in each room. And then we thought about, well, how do we do instruments? And they helped us to think through, how do we ensure that we're not sharing instruments, or that there are effective cleaning protocols in between lessons. They also helped us think through this phased reentry. And what do I mean by phased reentry? Well, we started our programming on September 12th, but we didn't want to have everyone coming into the space all at the same time. So we phased it in. September 12th was just faculty on site, learning how to teach in person, learning the protocols. And then September 19th, we had piano and guitar students coming in. And then we had September 26th, we had strings and small group. And everyone coming in, they were required to sign our health and safety plan and agree to abide by the rules in our health and safety plan. Each year at this event, we celebrate and honor the memory of former board president John Klaschinski. A student himself, John exemplified the values and spirit of CMCB. Today, we are awarding the 2020 John Klaschinski Award to not one, but 6 students from the class of 2020, Dante, Emily, Jason, Lemuel, Sebastian, and Sherry. Each of these students exemplify CMCB's spirit of community and hope, and we're grateful they have accepted this honor by performing for us today. Before I introduce our first honoree, I want to say that while we celebrate together today, I invite you all to make a donation to CMCB as well. Our goal is to raise $70,000 at this event. Now click here on the screen to open our donation page and pledge your support today. We know it is a difficult time for everyone right now, and we're especially grateful for your generosity. Our first honoree is Dante. Now, Dante is a stellar student at CMCB. He was a Lappin competition winner. He was a concerto competition winner, and he was actually, fun fact, granted early acceptance into Harvard. So enjoy Dante. Wow, that was a really beautiful performance, Dante. Now I'm going to ask you the same question that I'm asking all of the honorees. What is your favorite memory about CMCB?
So one of my favorite memories from the Music Center would have to be the time I spent accompanying the senior wind ensemble. When I was first asked to help out, I wasn't really sure what I was getting into, but over the next couple of years, Janet Underhill, the conductor, consistently chose really interesting and creative pieces, mix of everything from pre-Baroque to jazz or highly contemporary music. So every semester, I knew I was going to get to play something way outside my normal style, and I always had a lot of fun learning and rehearsing those with the group, getting to play on the electric piano with organ or harpsichord settings. Some of the highlights were an exciting solo piano tango version of the Coventry Carol. That was super fun to play. Those kinds of experiences definitely made the wind ensemble one of my favorite music center memories.
Thank you, Dante. I actually forgot to mention that Dante is a multi-instrumentalist, composer, and ISP student. He truly exemplifies the kind of community spirit we see here at CMCB. It's like when a student enters CMCB, they're entering an entire ecosystem of programs to engage in. Next, follow me to Room B. That's our early childhood room where we have online and in-person instruction. We've made these great music kits for the students so they can engage in instrument exploration and in little notes from there.
Wait, where's your other friend? I thought there were four.
And then we're gonna stop right here. I'm gonna get you your goodie bag.
That's perfect. Look at that.
Alright.
Great, look at those bags.
This is for you.
Now, Jason started at CMCB in 2014 and studied trumpet with Jeff Shamu. Jason is a great example of someone who took advantage of all that CMCB has to offer. He was an ISP student, he was a chamber orchestra member, he was a manager for the chamber orchestra, he was an employee and a counselor at Summer Music. And Jason now studies at Northeastern, and he'll be performing a movement from Haydn's Trumpet Concerto. wonderful performance of the Haydn. Now I'm going to ask you the same question I'm going to ask every honoree. What is your favorite memory about CMCB?
Hello, my name is Jason Gao, and one of my favorite memories from the Music Center would probably be the concert where we played The Birds by Respighi. I feel like this is one of my favorite moments because it was really satisfying seeing all of our hard work pay off. I remember in the weeks before the concert, our conductor was getting irritated by how little we progressed, and it took a lot of effort and a lot of practicing to get everyone to sound good. But in the end, we ended up having one of my favorite concerts.
Thank you for sharing that memory with us, Jason. If we continue to work and have perseverance, then we can achieve great things in the end. Now I'd like to move on to our next honoree, Sebastian. Sebastian plays, speaking as a bassoonist, the most wonderful instrument in the entire world, the bassoon. I'm not saying that because I'm also a member of that particular society. He started studying at CMCB on bassoon in 2016 as a student of Janet Underhill. And he played the chamber orchestra. He volunteered at summer music. He donated his time and labor to help us to really figure out some of the storage challenges that we had here at CMCB. But as his Eagle Scout project, he built shelving for us, not only here in this room, but also in our guitar room. And so it created all of this. It increased our teaching space for all the students that we have, and it created storage space for the instruments that we use to work with students all over the city. The next place we're going to is to Allen Hall. But while I'm going to Allen Hall to get everything open and set up, Sebastian, why don't you tell us what your favorite memory is of CMCB?
Hi, my name is Sebastian Long, and I was a student at CMCB for about 6 years. And for a favorite memory, I think that's a really almost impossible task for me because I just had so many incredible experiences at CMCB, from playing in orchestra, working at the summer music camp, having lessons with my incredible teacher Janet, and just like general performance. But one that I definitely remember was, I believe it was in 2017, we were playing the Lady Gaga saga, so Lady Gaga songs, bassoon band arrangement. We played it at a fancy event upstairs from CMCB. I believe it was welcoming Lacolian and honoring David Lappin. But I just remember that we started, and Janet had been telling me all rehearsal not to rush, and I, of course, rushed, and we ended up having to restart it, but and luckily nobody noticed, and the rest of the performance was awesome, and just the whole experience was a great time. That was definitely one of my favorite memories, just learning from a mistake and having a great time regardless.
One, two, three, four.
Well, here we are in Allen Hall. This is our primary performance space. We have our concerts in here, and we also have our large meetings, like our annual meeting and our board meetings are in this space. Right now, since many of those things aren't happening, we use this space as a socially distant waiting area for families when their students are in their programming. Our next performer is Emily. Now, Emily is also a student who plays the greatest instrument in the entire world, the bassoon. Not because it's what I play, but because it's the truth, as I said before. But Emily is a wonderful musician. She was this year's winner of the Latin competition in the senior division. And now she is at Harvard, and she also was an early acceptance student into Harvard.
Hi, my name is Emily. I'm a recently graduated senior from CMCB. Something that I really enjoyed about CMCB every single year was playing in the Performathon, and just kind of like getting to know all the other bassoonists when we prepared for bassoon band, really getting the chance to chat with my peers, which you don't often get the opportunity to do that when you're just going for lessons every week, but through workshops and recitals and other events like Performathon, you definitely get to know them a little bit better. And also just in Performathon, also getting to know like the staff as well and some of the other students in CMCB who play other instruments, as well as some of the younger students seeing them perform. It's really nice to see like a younger generation of musicians kind of getting to know music and getting to like it more.
Thanks for sharing that, Emily. Performathon is also my favorite event as well. I guess it must be like a bassoon thing or something. For those of you who are interested in participating and being part of Performathon this year, we're actually going to have Performathon this year. It's going to be the week of November 16th, and throughout the week, we're going to have different performances each day. You'll be able to see them on our website or on our YouTube page. Our next honoree is Lemuel. Lemuel started at CMCB in 2014 on trumpet with Jeff Shamu. Like our other nominees, Lemuel participated in our ensembles in addition to private lessons, and he was an inaugural student of the BEAM initiative, which provides pathways for musicians from underrepresented groups to seek professions in music. Today, Lemuel is a student at NEC. Lemuel, thanks for joining us today. What would you say is your favorite moment at CMCB?
Hello, CMCB 2021 student. Hope you guys are doing well. My fondest memory at CMCB would have to be in the 7th grade or 8th grade, I forget which one, when it was my first year joining the CMCB's Senior Wind Ensemble. And this group always has a special place in my heart because it was the first serious group I was really a part of. You know, back in middle school, you know, we didn't have the greatest music program. So being a part of this group where essentially I was the youngest person in the group and also kind of like the worst, you know, and just being a part of that community where, you know, we're playing very intense music. We're playing like, you know, Three Penny Opera, American Street Scenes, all these crazy things that I've never played before. And it was just awesome to be a part of. So thank you, Janet Underhill, Neil.
Thank you for sharing that, Lemuel. Now we can all see that working with us here at CMCB really puts you on the path to being a professional musician. And now, Lemuel will play a pre-COVID version of There Will Be Another You, which was one of the winners of the Lappin competition this year.
1, 2, 1, 2.
we're celebrating our next honoree from the string studio where I am right now. We're currently holding socially distanced string lessons in here. You might even see some of these marks on the floor. These are to ensure that we are remaining distant, and we can only have a maximum of 3 individuals in this space at any given time. Now on to Sherry. Sherry started at CMCB in 2016. She studied with Steven Murato, and she was an ISP student here at CMCB. Sherry also started a piano trio here with other seniors who were here at CMCB taking lessons. She currently studies at Tufts University, and today she is going to perform a movement from Bach's Cello Suite in C major. Thank you so much for sharing your wonderful music with us. So now tell me, what is your favorite memory about CMCB?
My favorite moment and memory from CMCB was that one year when we got to have Fête de la Musique outside CMCB, and then as a chamber orchestra we played, and I'm pretty sure Morgan sang with us, and it was beautiful. But especially now that we're stuck inside, I really treasure those moments where we got to spend outside, hanging out with friends, getting face painting, and eating ice cream, and just in general listening to beautiful music by different groups of students outside. Really enjoyed that moment. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that memory, Sherry. When I think back about that moment, I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that too. Having the opportunity to hear our Chief Programming Officer, Morgan Beckford, sing with the chamber orchestra was really moving for me as well. Now that I think about Morgan performing, we have some other things. It's not the same as being able to perform together, sitting next to each other and sharing the energy of performance. But we do have a socially distanced performance with Morgan that we put together for Fête at Home this year with our chamber orchestra performing He's Got the Whole World in His Hands. So why don't we listen to a performance of that while we walk back to my office.
He's got the whole world in his hand. He's got the whole world in his hand. He's got the whole
Wow. Every time that I watch that video, it gives me hope. And as I've been thinking about having hope, I'm constantly reminded of my grandmothers. Both of my grandmothers were church-going women, and they went to church every Sunday without fail. They put on their Sunday's best, and they got their children ready as well. They hot combed the girls' hair. I'm just thinking about my grandmother. My mother was one of 6 girls, and so there was a lot of hot combing going on. They tried to keep the boys from wrinkling their clothes before they got to church. I just have this picture of my father and my uncle David, who recently passed. I still remember all these pictures that they would show me of them standing in front of the 2 houses before church. My father would have this tape on his glasses, one in the middle, one on the side. And my mother with her beautiful hair, with all of her siblings there as well. Then I remember that my grandmothers grew up in the Jim Crow South. They faced the oppression of that time every day. The children that they dressed were the same children that were sent into harm's way to integrate the schools in this small town in Texas. And yet there were my grandmothers, meticulously taking care of all these children, clothes and hair, getting them ready for church every Sunday. And I mean, every Sunday. But they went there because it was a safe space for them to get rejuvenated for the week ahead. It was a place where they could always go back to get refilled with hope. I've taken so many lessons from the stories that they shared with me, and those lessons are at the top of my mind right now. The primary lesson was that one should always have hope. When times are the most challenging and the future has an uncomfortable degree of uncertainty, one must always be able to find one's way back to the village of hope. And then the other lesson that I learned from them was the value of community. If you remember to remain part of a community, then that community will be there for you when you need them. None of us is strong enough to weather this storm alone, but if we can learn to problem solve together, we might come out of this stronger than we've ever been. This year, remember that although we are physically distant, we still exist within communities. And the strongest communities, like the Community Music Center of Boston, will continue to be there with you. One of the things that we know that we will do is to be a place that supports you all as you continue to muster up the strength to have hope each and every week. For those of you who still want to engage in music instruction, but you're not in one of our approved in-person programs, or you're just not ready to commit to attending weekly events outside your home, CMCB is committed to you too. And we'll be working with you via our online program. We're investing in ways to increase our efficacy as we navigate this new landscape. And in spite of all the challenges, we're excited to see what potential these new innovations might create for us. We know some of our members need to take some time away from music instruction to just process and plan for the future. We know that you're still part of our CMCB community, and when the time feels right for you, we will welcome you back with open arms. Just know that as long as there are individuals like yourselves who value having music in your lives, CMCB will still be here. If you've been inspired by any of today's stories, I really hope you will consider making a donation. And I hope you'll make a donation today. At CMCB, we're re-envisioning what community music schools teach and how they engage with young people. We stand strong in a set of core values and beliefs that music instruction increases student success and positive development, both as it relates to music education, academic development, and personal growth. And that our programs, that they offer year-round arts opportunities, encouraging students and families from all backgrounds to engage with music making in everyday life, which in turn has a transformative impact on our community and on the city of Boston. We support youth to be equipped to fundamentally change the arts and culture sector for future generations. So please, thank you, make a gift today, and stay safe and healthy.